All right, you guys, welcome back to the Beyond the Wrestling Gear podcast. I'm here with wrestling superfan and costume designer Annie. Welcome, Annie, to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you. We've known each other for about a year. We met randomly, and I was very intrigued by your talent of costume designing. Tell me how you kind of got started with that, and then also how you got very passionate about professional wrestling.
So I'll start with the wrestling one because that obviously happens. So I'm a only daughter. I have three brothers, and they always liked wrestling. So it's like, back then we didn't have like a TV in every room. So if they were watching something, I'd have to sit and watch it, and then I'll be able to watch what I want. And then I just got really intrigued with that, and it's really funny what match I saw first because the first match I saw was Triple H versus Rick Flair. I believe it was Survivor Series 2005.
Oh.
I mean, Triple H got the screwdriver and put it in Ric Flair. So I don't know why, as a child, I found that so intriguing. I was like, yeah, this is going to be my obsession for the next couple of years.
So you started during the ruthless aggression era. Okay.
Although I do watch back to the Attitude Era, I do love a lot of that stuff. I watch back to that very occasionally, but yes, started in the Ruthless Aggression Era.
What's your favorite moment of both eras?
So, what would you consider is the start of Ruthless Aggression Era? Because I know a lot of people have like a different idea of when it started.
I would definitely say Cena and Angle when that match happened. That was the start of it. Oh,
Yeah.
hey
Yeah, because
Nitro, he
people will
just made
say
an
it started
appearance.
like 2002, so I'll go by that. For me, in the Attitude Era, I just love WrestleMania 17. Top to bottom, that card was just stacked. I know when I ask people about like what's their favorite WrestleMania, they always say because of the main event. I'm like, no, but this card, it was like top to bottom amazing. Like The Rock and Stone Cold,
Yes.
Triple H, The Undertaker, I think Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle. There was China and Ivory, like all of that. There was a triple threat tag team ladder match. That one was incredible. It's like top to bottom, it was just an incredible pay per view. And that I feel like was the peak of the Attitude Era, although that's when
Right.
it was fading out.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I've been telling a lot of people the turn that Cena made, it's very similar to when Austin aligned himself with McMahon at WrestleMania 17. Did you notice that?
Yes, towards the end of the match, yeah, he aligned himself with Vince McMahon. It happened quite a lot, like throughout the years. It's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like, it's happened quite a few times.
Yeah, and one of the things that got to me, which I kind of got really upset, was there were subtle cues in the poster
Mm.
of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view because
Yeah.
you saw Travis Scott, Cena, and The Rock together, and then you saw The Rock do the gestures of Cena to Cena, and I was sitting here like, "Ah, I should have known, and, like you said, you knew already, so you might have seen it, coming,
Yeah.
but I had no idea.
Yeah. And also the promo video as well, like how each person in the match is one of the seven deadly sins. I'm like, yeah, something bad's happening. Something's gonna happen.
I mean, I'm hoping they kind of learn how to teach Travis Scott how to go about the storyline and how to actually execute a lot of techniques because that shot he hit with Cody, that was awful.
Yeah. I agree. That was really bad.
That was that was bad. I mean, he got bragged on social media for it. Cody had a busted eardrum and he got legitimately hurt. And I tell people it's coming. That receipt's coming. He's gonna get him really good.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
And you don't want to mess with the wrestler when it comes to
Yeah.
that.
What do you think about like what do you think's gonna happen at Mania? I know people are very conflicted on whether Cody's gonna win or whether Cena's gonna win.
Um, man, I honestly don't know, but I feel like they're gonna aim towards that 17 championship for Cena. They have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. I feel like
And then
now, yeah. I feel like
yeah,
now's the correct time for it as well, because then he has time to have a title reign. It's not that, oh yeah, we just gave it to you and I'm going to take it off you because you're retired. It's like he can have a decent length reign.
and if you think about it, think of it this way: WrestleMania 18 with the Rock and Hulk Hogan. They can redo the match the second time. Travis Scott and the Rock turn on Cena. The ending is gonna be them shaking hands, Cena and Cody
Did you see the announcement about
aligning.
Backlash that Cena and Randy Orton will be there? I think they're going to have that match at Backlash. It's probably going to be because Backlash is after Mania, so I think that's probably going to be for the title. Or just hint, 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 hint. Who's going to win?
Yeah, that'll be I think it's in no, is it Chicago or Houston?
I think it's in
St.
St.
Louis.
Louis.
St. Louis, yeah, St. Louis. Yeah, and that's another one I want to see too. Is I want to see Warren win 17 and 18 eventually, so he could pass Cena.
Yeah.
I think it'll happen.
I agree. I do think it's definitely coming. I feel like that's the whole point of this whole retirement tour is to get him that 70 so that he can beat Ric Flair's record.
Yeah, and Flair's not having it on social media either. If you notice, he's been
Yeah,
very
yeah, I've
vocal about it.
noticed. Yeah, it's
He's
like
like,
it will never count because Ric Flair won it in a couple companies, where Cena just won it in one. Yeah, Ric Flair's not having it.
yeah, I mean, he wants to legitimately stop it, but he won't be able to. There's no way.
Yeah, because he doesn't have that creative control. I'm not sure if he's even signed to WWE currently to make that decision.
I mean, I think he's under a Legends contract, but he still doesn't have the power legitimately to
Yeah,
make that decision. That'd be Triple H
yeah,
and Tony Khan. Or not Tony Khan, Nick Khan, excuse me. Thank you. I just gave you some airtime, Tony. I know that your product is you're trying to get somewhere, but yeah, I don't know. I'm very indifferent towards AEW right now because their product's kind of going up and down. So
yeah. So I feel the same with WWE at times. Where like it goes up and then goes down, and then you get these big moments. Where it's like, oh my god, it's going back up, and then it goes down. But I feel like that's with every company.
yeah, and I notice you go everywhere. You go to AEW events, WWE events. What's been your favorite event that you've gone to so far? Any particular favorites?
Yes. So my favorite, and I've mentioned this quite a few times, is the Dynamite and Collision in Cardiff. There's something about people in Cardiff. It wasn't even really about the show, but just the people in Cardiff are so friendly. Like the vibes there was just amazing. Like although it was quite long because it was two tape shows, it was so good. And even like the AEW staff, they're so friendly, they're so helpful. If there's anything that goes on, they are so good at like dealing with it. Where I feel like I'm not trying to like take any digs or anything, but WWE stuff aren't. They don't care as much. I think because they've dealt with it so long, they're just so unbothered. When AEW fans will step in and the securities and everything about it was just really good.
Yeah, and I noticed that a lot of the European fans are more receptive towards the matches, and they're very loud, they're very vocal. Here, it's like you get that cheap pop, and then it's all quiet.
Yeah, and I think it's because especially for European fans, we don't get it as often. So then when we do get it, we need to make the most of it. Like, for example, I'm not sure if you've seen SmackDown, it was in Spain. And obviously that was the
Yeah,
first time they got it in 6 years. That was the first live SmackDown that they got. So it's like, of course they're going to be loud because that them being loud shows to the company, like, look, you should come here more because we appreciate the work that you put in.
yeah. I think they're starting to really travel and go international, and that's great. They go
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah,
You
and I
know,
really like that. I really like that they're doing that. You see the different vibes of each band. I feel like it's good that every country gets a show because back back in like 10 years ago, some of these countries wouldn't even get one show, let alone like a pay per view or a live televised show.
yeah. That's the thing about wrestling right now. It's a beautiful time to be a fan. You know, regardless of whether you support AEW, WWE, or even the local independent shows. You know, you're anywhere. Support is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, and I feel like there's always something for everyone when it comes to wrestling, whether it's Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan, AEW, WWE, or even just the Indies. Like, there's something for everyone. Like, I prefer the more hardcore style matches, like the really gruesome, bloody matches. So then AEW is more my thing. But it's like there's always something for everyone.
Yeah, or GCW.
Yeah,
You know, they
ECW is
do
very
some.
good with the death matches.
They go overboard with that. Like I wanted to go with my buddies to the one of the events in Orlando, and they're like, I don't feel like we could thrive there. It's too gory, and I'm like, it's still wrestling. It's Matt Cardona. I
Yeah.
want to go see Matt Cardona. Speaking about Matt Cardona, I actually got to meet him last year at River City Wrestling Con because I was a part of the media. I was doing media for the event, and then also my buddy Josh Breezy. He's the pro wrestler. He trained with his coach is Cody, so he trained with Cody with Dustin. He was a part of the first class of the Nightmare Factory, so he sees Cody often and talks to him and shows him his promos, and they go over stuff together.
That is really cool. How was the meme Matt Cardona? I know some people are very conflicted on how he is when you meet him.
Well, Well, I haven't met him yet, but I've heard a lot about him, and he's a very good, he's a very kind person, and a lot of people don't expect that because he's a big and famous, but you can see it in the ring and outside of it as well. He's very for the people.
Yeah, I really appreciate the work that he's put in as well, from being Zack Ryder to Matt Cardona. The change is literally so big, and like he's worked so hard to create this character for himself and like become a better wrestler and stuff. It's really, really inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about Cardona, he actually said because social media helped him. He's a pioneer, the pioneer to social media, and that helped him skyrocket. Without social media, he wouldn't have changed, and also the indies, he reinvented himself.
Yeah. And like even when he had the internet championship, I feel like if it wasn't for the internet, he wouldn't be as big as he is today.
No, and Vince was limiting him in a lot of ways because, of course, Vince frowned upon social media use. You can really have your Twitches and your Instagrams and your Facebooks. Now with Triple H, he's more free. He allows you to have that kind of stuff and promote yourself, and promote other companies.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one thing that's a lot better now. Like these wrestlers have a lot more freedom. And I know people complain about like old tape shows, but it's like because it's taped, they're allowed to spend more time with their family, which is good. Like they don't have to be so hardcore with like every week having to go to shows and not being able to travel home. Like I feel like it's better for the wrestlers.
Yeah, like 3 days off, and then about 2, 3 weeks on. It's a tough schedule.
Yeah, it really is. It's like I can only imagine how it is for these wrestlers, but I'm glad that they're able to go home and spend more time with their family now.
So who in the business inspires you right now? Like that really motivates you to really push towards your goals?
This is I know this is not really a common answer, but Mickey James, like just seeing how much she's done for the company. I know people talk about their Trish and Leah, and I'm not saying that they're bad. I think Trish and Leah do deserve their flowers, but there are a lot of people in that era that people don't talk about. China, Ivory, Victoria, Mickey James being one because she's been consistently wrestling. I think she's in her 40s now, but she's been consistently wrestling, consistently putting on amazing matches, and consistently making history for these women. Like when in 2022 in the Royal Rumble, she came out with as knockout champion and with her hardcore country theme. Like that literally broke the forbidden door for the rumors that were that WWE and TNA had a partnership. And I feel like people only really ever mention the Jordan Grace one in 2024, but it's like Mickie James did it first. And I feel like people don't give her enough credit for that. And even with like the crazy gimmick, like I love that. That storyline was so good when she was a crazy chick with Trish Stratus, but like people associate that gimmick with AJ Lee, and it's like, but Mickey James did it first. Not saying that AJ Lee isn't good. She smashed the gimmick, but it's like Mickey James did it first. Mickey James walked so that AJ Lee could run.
Yeah, I mean now you're seeing these storylines being brought back with a modern twist, which is really cool.
Yeah, and it just shows like how impactful Mickey James was. Because if she failed at that gimmick, they might have never tried that again. But because she succeeded and did that gimmick so well that they were able to do it with loads of other people. Like loads of people have done that crazy gimmick now. Like the list is endless.
Do you see yourself getting involved at some point in the wrestling business?
I'm not really sure because I went to a wrestling class once, and like the first lesson you always learn how to take bumps, and those bumps hurt. Like, you have to be consistent with it because those moves. Like I know people say, "Oh, it's fake," but like it does really hurt. Like just taking those bumps, letting them doing the moves, they really hurt. So I'm not really sure, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to somebody about this, the word fake. A lot of people say fake, but it's honestly, you got to think about it as predetermined. Everybody, they plan it out and it happens. People say fake, and those who say fake aren't really wrestling fans, in my
Yeah,
opinion. I feel like you haven't watched enough of the product to know what is fake and what is
yeah.
predetermined. So, and I'm not one to kind of go out there and, call somebody out for saying wrestling is fake, but, like, come on, just watch more of the product and you'll understand what it actually means.
Yeah, and it's like I get a lot of the times like, oh, you still watch WWE? Oh, I stopped watching it when I found out it was fake. Like, how does that make it any less entertaining? Movies are fake, like Marvel is fake, Star Wars is fake. That doesn't make it any less entertaining. And if to me, it isn't fake because like a lot of these people have like lifelong injuries. Like, yes, they know who the winner is, but they have to. Like, imagine as a company standpoint, point, like not knowing who's going to win, then you won't be able to create storylines, etc. To a point, like it has to be predetermined. As with any sport, most sports are predetermined, but it's like it doesn't make it any less entertaining. If you don't like it, that's fine. But it's like this whole excuse that oh well, it's fake. Like I just don't get it.
Has wrestling been something that has helped you cope with a lot of situations you struggle with in your life? Have you ever struggled with anything and you feel like wrestling is a way to cope through everything?
Yeah, I do because I've always been someone who's true to myself. I've never really thought about like fitting in and etc. So in secondary school, I got bullied a lot because I was very different. I went to a full girls school, so it's like a girl liking wrestling in full girls school. That's a bit weird. But even through those hard times of bullying, I was going through major depression. I was very suicidal, but like I could always turn back to wrestling. Like just turning wrestling on for like even just an hour, it would make me feel calm. It would give me a relief. Like I do that still to this day. Like, it's really soothing watching these old matches and stuff, watching a lot of the Attitude Era stuff. Like it's kind of like a peace thing for me. It brings me out of like ruts that I get into.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, everybody has a way of coping through everything, and if that's something you enjoy,
Yeah.
then that's great. You know, it's
Yeah. Even the
and
games as well, because I play the games a lot as well. Like those games are so like I prefer the older ones like SmackDown versus Raw. SmackDown versus Raw 2007 is my personal favorite. I know that might be biased, but
all
that is
right.
my personal favorite. And even those games, it's just like getting on those games, just such a stress relief for me. Like the game submission, and I find it quite fun. Like this is something I used to do on X. I don't use X anymore, but like I used to like do the missions and find things that happen in real life. Like it's quite entertaining. Like these little Easter eggs that then eventually happen in the real life storyline.
Yeah, and you know, that's something that's missing in a lot of these games now is that season mode and that story mode. Like my favorite game or games is SmackDown 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and then Here Comes the Pain and Shut Your
Yeah.
Mouth.
Those games are really good. It's like one thing I like about the games then is like the whole storyline mode. Like there was really interesting storylines and stuff that you could do. Like now I feel like there isn't much of that anymore.
No, it's more geared towards the showcase and
Yeah.
universe mode, and then I was really, really hoping for AEW Fight Forever to be something special,
Yeah.
and it flopped.
Yeah.
It flopped, and I
Yeah.
was so upset.
As a AEW fan, I do agree. Like, it was just not the best. Even with things like the theme songs stuff, like, surely you have the rights for the theme songs to use them in the game. But it's like you only get like a small portion of the extras. They don't even fully go to the ring. So you only get a small percentage of the extras. Like, you expected a lot more.
Right. What I want to know is what happened between Edge and AEW that they couldn't get the license to Metalingus because he's friends with the band.
Yeah, I always think the same thing because surely if they can use the songs on TV, then they can use it in their games. Like a lot of songs, like even from like smaller wrestlers, like Lance Archer, I love his like Everybody Dies theme, but like that wasn't in the game. I was like, what? Like surely you created that song. Like the song doesn't exist. You created that song. How do you not have the rights to use it in the game?
Yeah, and I mean they play him in the menus too, like a lot of their theme songs, but they don't play him, you know, and the like you said, the entrances.
Yeah, yeah. Like it was very weird. And it's like the thing is, I got so used to the controls of WWE that I kind of get confused on the controls for that because that's like the old controls, like the controls for the older game. So it's like once I start playing that, then I forget how to play WWE because the controls are very different.
I mean, it's a learning curve, and once you kind of get to learn it, then you'll be like, oh, this is easy. I
Yeah.
can. What do you play on? Pro, normal difficulty, easy.
I do on normal, but I sometimes do go to like when I feel like testing myself, I do something go to the legendary. I think it's the hard mode, but like I'm good at that as well. But yeah, I do usually just play on the normal.
Yeah, no, I would never do legendary. I can't. It's like too much for me. I'd
Yeah.
stick with normal. For you, I mean, you've pretty much gone to you've gone to a lot of different shows. You've done a lot of these costumes. Is there some, if you were to be working as a costume or a fashion designer right now for a wrestling company, who would you want to do costumes for? Is there anybody specific or a specific set of wrestlers you want to do costumes for?
Would love to do a costume for Rhea Ripley. Like I know she's got amazing costume designers, but just her style and my style are so much alike. So I feel like what I would like, she would like as well, because we've got a very like gothish alternative style. So I feel like that would work really well.
Yeah, I could tell, and then when I'm looking at you now, I see a bit of Soraya
Yeah.
with you
Yeah, that's
too.
the great as well. Like she's another person that I could probably make costumes for because again, it's a very similar style.
Yeah, like I could see you making her outfit and like debuting it at a wrestling show or something, and people be like, "Wait a minute, you look like Soraya." So
Yeah.
it's, I could definitely see that too. Alongside wrestling, what else do you enjoy? Is there anything like you do on the side, like any particular like hobbies that you do?
So mainly it's just the costume designing because like the costume designing takes forever. But I'm a huge reader as well. I love to read and love to like I actually do really like Star Wars and Marvel. I haven't been really keeping up with it because
Okay.
I've just yeah. But like I really like those two as well. But it's just like with all the wrestling and then with the costume maker and stuff, it's just hard to keep up with everything. Like props to the people who can do it, but like I find it so hard to even just with dress I find it so hard to keep up with every show, let alone anything else.
So I noticed the Nikki Bella costume in the
Yeah.
background there. And I was looking at the picture of it. How long did it take you to complete the entire design of the costume?
It took me about 2 weeks to complete the whole thing, but that's because like when I get focused, I get hyper focused. Like I can't stop until it's finished. And even now, I'm just adding adjustments because I'm going to be at MCM Comic Con and we're doing a like WWE UK cosplay meet up. So I was just adding more rhinestones to it and stuff, adding some a little bit alterations.
Oh, it's awesome, and I noticed you're a WWE affiliate too.
Yeah.
How did that happen for you?
So the thing is, before I started doing cosplay, was like posted like in wrestling merch and stuff. 'Cause I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do with my platform at the point. So I'm so glad that people have stuck about because like my platform has gone through a lot of changes because like I didn't know what exactly I wanted to post. Like I knew I wanted to post wrestling, but I didn't know what exactly of wrestling. So I would post these shirts and stuff, like all the merch and stuff. And then I got a DM with someone who said to like try this link. And at first I thought it was just gonna be a scam, but I thought might as well. And then I got the email back saying that I passed it. So yeah, so I've got affiliate links in my bio and stuff.
That's really cool. So do you make a commission out of that every
Yeah,
time they come in and click the
so
link?
every sale that's made, you get 7%.
That's
7%
awesome.
isn't much when you think about it. Because I know
Yeah.
someone put like an order for something and it was like £50. It's like I only got like 7 for that. I was like, really? That's how low 7% is.
Yeah, and you have a YouTube channel as well, right?
No, I don't. That was just another podcast I was on. That was just in the bio.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And now you're starting to really branch out there, do
Yeah.
different types of media. Because I remember when I first met you, I was a little afraid to ask you to be on my show because you had mentioned no podcast. So I was like, let me just hold back, and then eventually she'll pop up, or I don't know what'll happen. So, and here we are, you know?
Yeah. I'm glad that people are seeing and appreciating the work that I put in as well to ask me to do these kind of shows. Like I'm always forever grateful to do this kind of thing. It's not that I ever had a problem with podcasts, just I just don't personally watch them. I was like now I've been branching out more to it because a lot of the podcasts I see is just like just angry men and just making very sexist comments about women or it's it's just not good. But there are a lot that are good. Like what is his name? I think his name is Chris Van Vliet, like or
Oh
something.
yeah, he is my idol. Like I want to meet him so bad because
Yeah,
I just want to pick his brain. I want to pick his brain and like his interview style and how he like coordinates his interviews and how he kind of attracts a guest to be on a
yeah.
show. That's really cool.
And I just love the vibe of his interviews. Like it's also positive, it's not negative. He's really good. Like he knows his stuff. His interview style is really good. It's very like casual, like a sit down conversation. Like it's I saw his one with AJ Styles recently. Like you could tell that both of them was just so comfortable to be there and like he knows his stuff and it's like I love how like even at the end he's like, oh what are you grateful for like keeping it all positive and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's how it should be. It should be all positive. Like a lot of these there's a lot of not a lot of channels, but a lot of these pages are dirt sheets and it's very negative and I try to aim this podcast, I try to aim it to be positive. I want to bring the positive side of wrestling out versus the negative because it's always all negative,
Yeah. And I
always all
see
drama.
also on social media that like there's pages that are literally just complaining about everything. It's just like it's wrestling, have fun with it. like one big thing for me was the Royal Rumble this year, 2025. People want people were like saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna watch it because Cena's gonna win. It's so predictable." And then Jey Uso wins, and then they're angry that Jey Uso won. It's like, but I thought you
Make up
said
your
you don't
mind.
want it. Yeah, it's like you were upset because you said it's so predictable and Cena's gonna win, and now that Cena hasn't won, now you're still upset. I feel like that was. I feel like that was personally. I think that was a good decision making someone like because Jey Uso is kind of the mid carder. I was like he's so massive. I like how they're capitalizing on him because I feel like with LA Knight they did it a bit too late to the point where people stop caring. So I feel like it's good that they're doing it with Jey Uso right now. But I feel like because Jey Uso has won the Rumble, I feel like he has to win the Mania match. Like I feel like it's kind of a waste of a Rumble if he loses that match. I feel like he has to win.
You know, my biggest concern with him is I just hope they don't turn him into another Kofi.
Yeah,
That
no,
he
I
gets a
agree.
short run and then they just kick him to the curb because or
Yeah,
you know, Lord forbid Brock Lesnar shows up
yeah.
a month after he wins his title and he just squashes him for the title.
I'm so glad he wasn't in the Rumble. Like I was scared. I was like, I hope Brock Lesnar's not in this. He wasn't. Luckily.
Yeah, or we might see Roman become jealous and
Yeah,
maybe attack him for
yeah,
the and challenge him for the belt
yeah.
again. I don't know. I could see it.
Yeah, I can see that happening because, like, even with the steel cage match with Seth Rollins and CM Punk, like I was saying, like when it was announced, like Roman Reigns is going to interfere, and then Roman Reigns did interfere.
So, do you think that was the favor of Roman Reigns interfering, or do you think it's still up in the air? What the favor is that Heyman has for or Punk has for Heyman?
I'm not really sure because, like, I kind of forgotten about this favor because I thought it would be like a title match or something, but both titles are occupied. He's been in the chamber, he was in the Rumble, he failed though, so I'm really interested to see what this favor is. I assume it's something at Mania, but I don't think he's in the main event because I assume both nights the world title will main event. So it's interesting to see what this favor will be.
Right? I mean, you can't wait, especially now with all these surprises. Like, for example, just a few weeks ago, Chad Gable was, he was in Mexico, and this random individual handed him a box, and now we're all speculating what's in that box. You know, what's in there, and then we see him show up the week after in an American made mask, and everybody's going nuts saying, "Oh, that's Phoenix, that's Phoenix," and I'm like, "No, Phoenix has tattoos
Yeah,
all over. That's not Phoenix, because Phoenix is still he just became a free agent
yeah,
a couple weeks ago,
yeah.
but
So
they're
yeah, I assumed as well that it was probably just a mask, but then I remember the backstage segment where they were pulling the guy away and Chad Gable was there, so it clearly wasn't Chad Gable in the mask.
I mean, eventually, and Phoenix eventually will come, and I think he'll save
Yeah,
uh Penta from a beating. But I
yeah,
feel like they need to let Penta be himself for a little bit
yeah.
and win a couple singles titles, and then bring him in
Yeah, I think they
to the
teased
fold.
Ray Phoenix coming on SmackDown. I can't remember. Maybe that's what I'm getting from it. That they did tease him come, but I don't think he's going to come this soon because like most companies after you've been released, you usually have a 90-day or something no compete clause. But I do think he is going to come to WWE. He has said many times before that he wants to come to WWE. But I think they need to give Penta his own single run first. Let him do his
Right.
own thing before his brother comes along. 'Cause I feel like at one point that can hold him back because like sometimes some people are just stuck in a tag team where they can't go back to being a single star. So it's like just let him have his time.
Right, and I have met Penta and Phoenix back in the Indies, and they're probably two of the nicest individuals out there.
Yeah,
Very, very nice.
yeah. I know a lot of people saw Penta outside during All In, and like people say that he was very friendly, but he didn't want anyone taking pictures of him without his mask, just for respect purposes.
Yeah, I saw a video making the rounds of somebody took a picture, not a picture, but a video of him without his gear on, and they were yelling Penta Penta, and he did a signature Cero Miedo sign, and I'm sitting here like, and then eventually I went and refreshed it, and they took it down. They
Yeah,
took down the video because obviously somebody might have complained, which I'm
yeah.
glad they did because you're basically ruining the guy's. He said no videos and no pictures without the
Exactly. Like
gear, and you go,
respect their privacy, and I have this with a lot, like with a lot of fans. Like I've said this in the last podcast I was in. Like I never understood like waiting for them outside, like in airports and like hotels. Like they will have assigned meet and greets for a reason. And like, I'm not sure how it is in the United States, but in the UK, we do get like free meet and greets, like in toy stores, etc. So it's like there's a time and place for it. It's like I never get the whole thing of invading their privacy, etc. Like I just don't like. I wouldn't like if that was me. Like, just don't get it. Like they're still humans at the end of the day.
Yeah, they're just doing a job. You know,
Yeah,
they're doing their
exactly.
thing.
And like most of them are kind of polite, but it's like if they wasn't, I wouldn't judge them for it. Like I know, what's her name, Mercedes Monet. Like she can be a bit off when people harass her, but it's
On the
like
edges.
yeah, but it's like you're harassing her. What do you expect?
Right? Like, and then you got to give them a break. They've been traveling everywhere, doing, doing shows, and they just need a break from the
Yeah,
crowd a little bit to
yeah. She
decompress.
might be tired. She might be exhausted. She might be dealing with something like. And it's like people create this idea that she's really mean, that she's really bitchy, but it's like imagine you harassed her. You didn't go to a meet and greet. You didn't pay to see her. You didn't go when she wanted to see people. You literally harassed her in the airport.
Who's your wrestling Mount Rushmore? Who's in your wrestling Mount Rushmore?
So most of these people are going to be out there. I'm just letting you know that. Um, Prime Rock, like I know a lot of people are a bit iffy with the Rock how he is now, and I am a bit too. But Rock in his prime was amazing. Stone Cold as well. Stone Cold amazing. Shawn Michaels, like I think Shawn Michaels was consistently good. Now I know he started in
Yeah.
the 80s, left in like 2011, but still consistently always been good. The Undertaker's definitely all Undertaker's gimmicks have been amazing. Like when I
Yeah.
was young, I didn't really like the American Badass thing, but like now it's growing on me because I would prefer the Dead Man or like when he was with Paul Bearer and like he never used to speak. Like I love that. And I remember when he was can't remember what the team was called, but when he was like this kind of psycho satanic person, he was like whipping people and like chaining
Oh yeah.
Stephanie to like a cross and stuff. Like that stuff was insane. That's four. And I would say like Triple H or Kane, because those two are incredible as well.
Yeah, and Triple H, he did a lot for the business, even though people say, "Oh, he got to the top because he ended up with Stephanie," and I'm like, that's not the case, you know.
Yeah, but even before he was with Stephanie, like he had incredible matches. He was really good in the ring. Like maybe there is favoritism because he is married to Stephanie, but I feel like his work speaks for itself.
I wholeheartedly agree. And then I don't know about I don't know if I told you this, but I actually got to interview Matt Riddle last year.
Oh
After
really?
he
How was that?
right good right when he left WWE, I got to interview him and I got to ask him a few questions about what he's doing now and he just became recently the MLW
Yeah,
World Heavyweight Champion and he'll be back at River City this year, so I'm hoping to get him
yeah,
back for a part two. So that how that came about was a friend of mine. Um, he actually went up to him and he said, "Yo, I've been on David's podcast before. He's a great interviewer. He's a great guy. He would like to interview you." And next thing you know, he comes up to me. He's like, "When do you want to do it? Do you want to do it here, like right now?" And I had no audio gear, nothing. And so we did the interview. I mean, it wasn't the best audio quality because I don't have any gear on me, but I'm hoping this year will be a lot better. And
yeah,
he's a very nice guy for the amount of hate he gets online. He's a very nice guy.
yeah. I've heard that from a lot of people that he's very nice. I don't, because I don't really read dirt sheets and stuff, so I don't know exactly what he's done to deserve the hate. But like from what I've heard from most people, most wrestlers in general, like I've heard from a lot of people, most of these wrestlers are generally just really nice people.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I've met his wife before, his girlfriend Misha, and they have a son with cerebral palsy.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So we had that in common, and eventually I'm gonna have his girlfriend on the show as well, and we're gonna get to talk about that. And she's very supportive about advocating
Yeah,
for children with disabilities, and so it's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. I know how that's like. 'Cause my eldest brother has cerebral palsy as well, and then my other two are autistic, so I know what it's like.
Oh, so you've been around the community before, so
Yeah. The
and
thing
I'm
is,
sure.
like, yeah, I'm so used to it. Like, my brother with cerebral palsy, he has a speech impediment, and like, I never noticed that he speaks differently. Because to me, because he's my oldest brother, his speech became normal to me. It's only when someone else pointed it out, it's like, your brother talks a bit weirdly. I'm like, oh, really? Like, and then only then I started hearing it because to me it becomes normal. Like, all the
Yeah.
behaviors, I didn't see it as like a special need. I just saw it as, that's just how my brothers are. Like, I never saw it as anything different. So I feel like it's good to a point because when I see someone like that, I don't judge them because I know what it's like and I just see it as normal.
Yeah. I mean, when you're used to it and you've been around it for so long, it's obviously gonna be normal for you.
Yeah. And it's like, your brother walks with a stick. And it's like, yeah, that's not.
I mean, sure, they may walk and talk differently, but they're still human like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And I find like my brothers with disabilities are much better than most normal people I met, like who have no conditions, have no mental health conditions, have no disabilities. I find them a lot better than most of them. Maybe that's just because of my siblings, but
Yeah, and that's the thing about wrestling is it connects
yeah.
a lot of different topics, and you can always branch out into anything different. And as a fan, I've been a fan for a very long time. I don't know if you faced this before, but accessibility in shows. So for me, I can't really stand and like see like superstars and things like that like right ahead or even get an accessible seat because it's outrageous the cost of a seat for somebody with a wheelchair or it being accessible versus a normal seat.
Yeah.
And sometimes even if you go to events and you request to swap tickets for an accessible seat, chances are it's not guaranteed.
Yeah. And it's
Oh,
not fair on those people. It's like it's not your choice. Like you don't choose to have that disability. Like, and I saw a case with the O2 recently. Someone again with cerebral palsy, like where because of just how it is, like they walk differently, but they got kicked out because the staff thought they were intoxicated. Like it really said that people need to be more educated on disability because people act like it's a choice. Oh, it's just people being lazy. Like no, it is a choice. Like I've seen it first time. My brothers they work so hard, but it's like there's just some things they physically cannot do. And I kind of get because I'm very short as well. Although it's not the same in any class. But even then, it's like I have to pay to be front row. Sometimes I don't even get that guarantee. Like I have to pay extra money just because of my height.
right. And then to even try to get notice is probably difficult too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because like even if I am standing, they don't see me because I'm so short.
Yeah, and I know you've been trying to. I know when you go to shows, you try to see if Cody notices you because he sees some people in the crowd sometimes. He points them out and he talks to them. And there was a one. I think there was one show. I think it was a house show where somebody said they're getting married and they wanted Cody to come to his wedding. And he said, "Let me know when your wedding is. I'll be there." And I don't know if it was true that he actually did it, but
Nice.
you
So
know.
I've seen stuff like that as well. But, yeah, it's just hard. Maybe the stands are better for someone that's short because stands are technically elevated, but God knows. I need to like trial and error, I guess.
I wish I was a green shirt guy. That guy's at every show.
Yeah, and he's always front row, like the best seat you can get, like always right there, like best view of the brand, best view of the ring. Like I need to know what he does for work. Like what does this
Yeah,
man do?
I
Because
mean, there's people that say he's like an industry plant, or he does like he owns businesses. He makes a lot of money, so they don't really know.
like those tickets are expensive. Like even for a house show here, like now the front rows are like 700. It's like that is expensive. Like how are you affording that? Like and he's at every show, so how do you afford that? Like so many days a year.
Yeah, I've been to WrestleMania 24 in Orlando before, and I missed the last one they were here, but they're going to be in Vegas this year. The Vegas tickets are insane.
I've seen them. I saw like something about the Hall of Fame as well to meet with Triple H, and it's like 8,000.
It,
I was like, yeah, I was like, that is insane. Like just to take a picture with Triple H. I was like, 10 years ago when he was in his prime, you could probably get that for like $20.
yeah, now it's like with the WWE how it's growing. It's a
Yeah,
business, and
yeah.
you
And
have
one
to
thing, I,
fork over the money.
and one thing I was like telling my friend earlier as well, it's like it's the fact that people still pay these amounts. That's how they get away with it. 'Cause if no one buys it, they will be forced to lower it. But it's like there
Yeah.
are always people who will be willing to pay that. How do people have 8,000 just expendable? God knows. But like, it's the fact that people are still paying these amounts, which allows it to happen.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. As long as people buy it, they're gonna keep. pushing it out.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's like, if everyone collectively decides the prices are too high, none of us are going to buy it, they will have to lower it. Like, because as a business, you can't just have nobody there.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree.
I've seen that with a lot of shows in the UK, like Clash in the Castle in Scotland, because the prices were really high. Like when it came closer to the time, the prices dropped to a reasonable price. It's all like, don't buy it, and then they will lower.
Yeah, I mean, and they always lower the tickets like the day of the event or
Yeah,
before,
yeah,
so you can somewhat afford it, but it's still
yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, but then again, you have to always be in the area on that situation because, like, for example, Clash of the Castle was in Scotland, so it's like even if I did get a ticket on the day, then I have to somehow figure out how I'm going to get all the way up to Scotland, which is a long journey. So it's like if it's in your area, then fair enough.
Yeah, I'm actually good friends with well, a River City Wrestling Con. I actually met Vito, who
Yeah,
used to compete in the WWE, and so he actually the day of the event, I was supposed to go. There's a separate like entrance to go in as media, and I went up to the list, and they said, "Oh, you're not on the list." And so I contacted the owner of the con, and I explained to him, "Hey, they're denying me access." And then Vito, he heard what happened, so he's like, "Oh, David's a good friend. Let him in, and he's good." So he let me in, and next thing you know, I think about a week later, he followed me on social media, and we took a picture together too. And I thanked him for it. He's like, "You're a friend of my crew now." So we've been friends for the last year, and now we communicate every once in a while. Yeah, and hopefully we'll see each other this year. I'm hoping he'll be at River City, and we'll connect again. And so that's the thing about wrestling is we're still human at the end of the day,
yeah, exactly.
And I got to meet the Hardys last year as well.
Yeah,
Matt and Jeff are two awesome people.
yeah. They are my favorite tag team of all time. Like, I would love to meet them, but I think Jeff can't come to the UK. I think Matt can, but Jeff can't. So obviously CUIs and stuff. So it's like the only chance I ever get to meet them is going to the States.
Yeah, I think it's like 10. I think he can't drive for like 10 years,
Yeah,
Jeff, until that clears out, and then he can
yeah,
start traveling
yeah. But
again.
with like the moves he does, I don't know how he's surviving. Like his bones are all gonna break.
Yeah, he's like Darby. Darby is the same.
Yeah,
Darby.
yeah. But Darby has the youth, like he's still very young, whereas Jeff Hardy's obviously a lot older. But yeah, Darby Allin, like for no reason as well. Like Darby Allin just putting his body in the line, and I get it's for like the moment, the pop. But it's like, Jesus.
Do you go to a lot of conventions there in the UK? Wrestling conventions?
I haven't gone to any yet. We've got Born the Love of Wrestling. I'm not sure if there's any other one. I do plan to go to that one year, but I'm just waiting for the lineup to be a good lineup because it is quite a journey. So I want to make the journey worth it. I feel like this year it wasn't the best. I'm not saying it was a bad lineup. It just wasn't the best lineup. The 2022 lineup was so good. Like so many AEW stars, so many old school WWE stars. I feel like this year wasn't good, but I do plan to go to one.
Yeah, Melina's gonna be at River City Wrestling Con this year, so I'm looking forward to meeting her
Yeah. I've heard
finally.
Melina's very
Yeah, one of my best friends is actually real life friends with her. So,
yeah,
we talk about things all the time, and things that a lot of wrestling fans don't know about, but I know about because I'm trustworthy. So,
yeah,
but but yeah, like it's really cool to be able to kind of share and interact with a lot of different people and see what's going on.
yeah. I feel like Melina's another one who doesn't get enough credit for her work. Like she was very good in the ring. She had a really good character. Really liked her entrance with the red carpet and stuff. But I feel like people don't give her enough credit.
Yeah, Melina's a very private person. Like she
Yeah,
doesn't like to have her family life out in the
yeah,
open. And there was a rumor a couple months ago that happened that apparently I don't know if you heard about the wildfires in California.
yeah. And then
So
apparently she disappeared or something.
so someone on company on social media spread a rumor that something happened to her during the fires or she disappeared. And I contacted my friend Duke, like asked my buddy, like, Duke, is this true? Like, did something happen to Melina? She's like, no, I've been in contact with her. It's completely false. Someone decided to spread false narratives. She's okay. What people don't understand is people aren't on social media 24/7.
Exactly.
She's
Exactly.
one of those people.
Yeah.
And that's how rumors start. People start making stuff up,
Yeah.
you know, making people look like something
Yeah.
happened to them.
I saw that as well. I was just wondering, like, is she okay? Because like some people don't want to be on social media. Some people aren't on their phone 24/7. That doesn't mean that they're missing or that they disappeared. Like some people are just very private people.
And that forced her to have to go on social media and reiterate
Yeah,
what was said, but they had to contact that promotion and tell them, hey, you got to take this down. This is
yeah,
completely misinformation. And
yeah.
and I kept seeing people
Yeah,
post about it, and I'm like, and I commented below their post, and I'm like, that's
yeah,
misinformation. And they're like you don't know that. I'm like, I do because I have a legit source.
yeah. And like that isn't fair on her either. Like she wants to be a private person, let her. Like especially with how it is being famous with all the harassment and stuff. She wants to keep stuff private, let her. Like she doesn't have to be on social media 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, you got to respect people's privacy, whether it's online, in person, at a show. There's no time for that.
Yeah, it was just very horrible for people to spread information like that. It happens a lot in the IWC. Like people are always spreading rumors about people, making up false narratives about people. Like, what do you generally gain from doing that?
Nothing, just some cheap clout, and then after that,
Yeah,
it's nothing.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Annie, it's been great having you on the show. Like we've talked about a lot here at the episode. Are there any positive words you'd like to leave us with today?
I'd like to say to everyone who's watching, just know if someone is hating on you, that means you're doing something right. Hate usually stems from jealousy. It says more about them than it says about you. I know there's so much hate out there in the IWC, but just just know it's nothing about you. And if anything, it shows that you are winning and you are doing so well for yourself that people find the need to be hateful or jealous. Just keep being you.
Awesome. And then where can my listeners find you to I guess to inquire about what you do or just to follow your journey?
So I'm currently only on Instagram. It's Annie X. So yeah, you can find me on there.
Awesome, awesome. And as you know, this episode will be on Spotify and on YouTube. And of course, you're going to see a lot of reels over time to kind of, recapping the episode. Annie, I really appreciate you taking the time today to be on the show. It was a privilege and an honor. And yeah, I hope we end up doing a part two, after everything else blows over.
Yeah, I would love to do one again, like probably at like the end of the year or something, just a recap of everything that's happening. That would be so cool.
Yeah, I agree. We should definitely do it. And with that being said, this is David from Beyond the Wrestling Gear. We don't just talk about wrestling, we go beyond it. Until next time, everybody. Thanks, Annie.